Hello folks, Vladimir here, and on my previous video I showed the any item key. Now this was quite a cumbersome design, if I do say so myself. I'd hurriedly put the thing together. Now there's been a few comments on the video, so I thought I'd do a second one, and people were asking about overflow, etc. Now this is still accepting diamonds, so we'll place in 2 blocks, there we go, and see if it overloads. Now hopefully the carts will journey around rather slowly, actually saying whether it's, there we go, I think we're getting our items back now. Yes, there we are. So we get our items back, and round here in this cart we should have, if I left some in from previous testing, how useless am I? So that was the cumbersome design. I streamlined it and came up with this design. This is much the same, where we have our chest here that will collect the diamonds. I'll make sure that this one's empty. This hopper here, this has more diamonds in it because I wanted two redstone to be lit up here so I could get the signal this direction for this minecart. And again, this hopper here has the 21 bedrock in it. Now again, this is the same thing. We can place the diamond inside it, the item's accepted, and we can place the wool inside it, and it's an invalid item. There we go, and we get the item back. So this was, I spent a bit of time putting this together, just to try and compact the whole thing, when I got a comment on my video saying you can just place the hopper directly underneath the furnace with the 21 blocks in there, all spaces occupied, and that will tell you whether it's accepted or not. Now this is by Epsdude Z, I believe his name is. So if I was to place, there we go, it says item accepted, but this time if I place anything other than the diamond block in there, it stays in there and doesn't go away. And you don't need a fancy return system. So this design means that with the amount of room we have here, we can actually fit secondary devices around it. Like this one, for instance, if I was to place wool in there, that's not the valid block. But if I was to place a diamond block in there, we can have the doors open to a chamber. So there we go, we can have it that way. Now of course you can set whatever's in the contents of the hopper here that you're checking. You can set that to any item that you want, as long as it stacks. In this instance we could have it say that it requires skeleton skulls. Place that in and the door opens. Now you could have it so it's a quest, you have X amount of skeleton skulls to collect, and you could set your custom spawners to have the skeletons or the mobs, whichever one you fancy, actually drop the skeleton heads or the zombie heads. So it's a bit like a World of Warcraft grinding quest you could possibly have here. So yes, there we go. And one last thing before I go, I used this device here to keep the time at midday and to keep the weather clear. Now with the new daylight sensor, you can have a daylight sensor here inverting a redstone torch to say set the time to 0, so it'll always be daylight on your map with no fancy redstone. It just sits here and does it for you. So I thought I'd show you that before I go. Again, I'll leave this world in the download link, so if anybody wants to have a look they can do. and I'll tidy the place up a little bit, and I shall see you all next time, folks. Take it easy. I left some in from previous testing. How useless am I? I often use this as to keep the date and date and time. Good grief, lad. Can replace that if you're not too bothered about the weather, but I guess you could just string another command block here with a repeater in the middle, so you can balls that up.